Aloha! Mahalo, my Hawaiian friends. How many Hawaiian friends do I have? I'm thinking none. Oh, maybe I could have. I know one of my buddies at work, I think his sister lives out there. I could have one. I don't really know her. Ever met her. Even know her name. So maybe it's still zero. Anyway, just trying new, greetings. I'll keep working on it. I don't know if anyone can tell, but I actually have a new lens that I'm actually using today. It's a 50 millimeter 1.8, and you might be able to tell there's a little bit different depth of field. All the objects behind me might seem a little bit more out of focus than they typically were, and I don't know. I'll have to see what I think of this later. Looks all right now, and I use the term lightly, but yeah, something new, something different. Anyway, again, I'm filming another one while my other one is still uploading. You get a little busy and things can just kind of back up. There's a little bit of processing involved, when it comes to trying to compress these videos, and I tend to make long ones, which you'll see when that one gets up there, because it was long. I keep saying shorter ones, it's not happening. So anyway, that's processing. Compression of that takes a long time, and I don't know if maybe it's the 32-bit compressor program that I'm using. I actually talked about this a little yesterday at New Hampshire Magazine, but I'm thinking about maybe just buying. There's a new 64-bit compressor that's available at the Apple Store for $50. I'm thinking about getting it. I don't know. I hope it works with Final Cut 7. I probably should check into that first because I'm not doing anything with another program. But it would be nice to be able to use a separate computer to do my compression and still be able to work at the same time, which may alter my thinking with what I purchase. Just don't know if there's any kind of compression program out there that's as good as Compressor. I'm going to have to do some research because I don't really remember. But anyway, yesterday was a very, very long day for me. Long video, long day. After I worked all night at the pharmacy, I went right to New Hampshire Magazine afterwards and then worked until 5 p.m. or got home about 5 p.m. And that's working 2 days together, and some of my coworkers have actually done this, so they know. I mean, it can be tiring, And the thing was, I was supposed to get up and go back to work, so I was dead to the world. I mean, I just out cold for once. I slept for a good 6 straight hours, and I woke up, and then I sent a text message to work. And I said, "Hey, you guys still need some help? I'll come in, but if you don't, I'm thinking I kind of like to just stay in bed." And they were all set, thankfully, and didn't really need my help. So I didn't have to go back to work after 6 hours of sleep after working 2 days consecutively, which is fine with me. But yesterday went pretty well at the magazine, actually. I was able to get a lot accomplished in the way of a new online video feature that the magazine's going to have out there. It's something called New Hampshire Folks Telling Jokes. I didn't make it up. I'm just saying that's going to be the title. And there's a collection that's already started, so they should be uploaded this weekend. Probably by Monday you'll be able to see them. And I got another feature that I had to get done, and that's the man on the street. Little trivia questions about New Hampshire that I walk up to random strangers. We have a host, ask them some trivia questions and a little anecdote, and then I've got that's almost finished. So I still got some work to do, so I'll probably be busy today. And I'm going to Boston tonight, see my friends, which I'm really looking forward to because some of them I haven't seen for a while and I'm already missing them. And it's good just to hang out with them, and just kick back and just forget about work and other troubles. And I don't know, there's something really cathartic about it. Cathartic. Anyway, I don't even know that I should be making a video today. I'm kind of a little bit in an emotional state right now. I watched a few flicks since I've been up, and they've kind of put me in a particular mood. I'm not quite sure what it is. I well, the last thing I watched, actually, I just got done watching an Elvis movie, and I don't know if you can actually see it behind me, but um, I love Elvis. I have to admit it. Okay, I'm a huge Elvis fan, and always have been. And one of the very first, I think he's probably the first person I idolized while I was growing up. I'm not one for developing those kind of feelings, or gushing about celebrity types. But growing up, I remember him being the first kind of person that I looked up to, I guess, for what he was able to accomplish and what he did. And I'm kind of nostalgic about him at times. And I was watching something today, and it's funny because I've always had this deep crush for this woman that's in this movie with him, and her name's Dolores Hart. And after a couple of films that she made two with Elvis, and in the early years before he joined the army, and always had a crush on her. And after she got done making a couple of films, she became a nun. She has been a nun her entire life. And as a matter of fact, this year at the Oscars, a documentary about her life was one of the movies that was up for documentary of the year. And I don't believe that it won, but it's amazing. It's amazing how people's lives kind of turn out, and she was just beautiful on the screen and a wholesome girl. And I guess that's kind of my problem, is like it's one of the things that I standards maybe I hold girls up to, and I'm not able to find it today. And I don't know. Maybe it's because of my ideals that I developed. But anyway, it was cool to watch Elvis because he was just a great performer. He was a great voice, and he's such a down-to-earth, easygoing, likable person. And that's kind of like what I've wanted to strive for myself. And you know what else was cool is when they're in the very end, the movie I watched was Loving You, and at the very end he's performing in this theater, and I know for a fact like that both his parents were actually sitting in there, and you can see his mother on the screen, and he gets down into the audience and he comes over and he just gives her a little look, and it's just kind of cool. It's kind of cool that knowing that his mother Gladys was there, and just shoots her a little look that it's very subtle, but it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing, and since I was thinking about my mothers and parents and stuff like that, one of the other movies that I watched was kind of got me emotionally charged today. Was The Terminal. Tom Hanks is in that, and I don't know how many people saw it or like it, but overall, it's not bad. It's not a perfect movie, by any stretch, but there's great moments in it. It's a movie that really lets you feel rather than trying to make you cry or something. Some of the things are done very well, and a couple of the moments really, really affected me. And I think one of the things about the movie is like this message about what this guy, the whole reason that this guy is here in this country and that he's trapped, is that he's trying to do something for his father. And that's one of the things that kind of got me a little bit, because I think about my own life, and it kind of it hits me because, and I'm not really sure why I'm going to share this right now, but I guess I want to have it recorded. The movie goes where this guy is he's got this can full of autographs, something that his father was trying to accomplish in his lifetime and never was able to do it. He needed one more name, and Tom Hanks, his character, sets off for New York, encounters obstacles to get that one thing for his father. It's kind of like a promise, and he wants to fulfill that because he believed that his father would have done it for him, and it's something that I remembered something in my life. I guess that was kind of similar, and maybe it doesn't measure up, and it's not really on the same level. But but I remember my dad had a dog at one point in time, and it was this beautiful dog. It was a Dalmatian, and his name was Jack. I don't know why. I don't know who named it, but the dog was beautiful. It had so many black dots on its face that its whole face was pretty much black. I mean, except for little traces of white. And it looked like any dog you would imagine in a firehouse. It was just perfect looking dog, and he wasn't very smart. And there was a couple of stories. I mean, like one time, my dad would take him up to the camp up in Maine, and dog would run out of the truck, and the first thing you want to do is jump in the lake, and just run out and zoom 100 miles an hour. Well, one time it was just like in Thanksgiving, and I think there was just enough ice on the lake that the dog couldn't tell, and like once he went to the lake, he just kind of slid out about 15 feet, and the dog couldn't. The dog didn't know what the hell was going on. He's used to jumping in the water, but now he's like Jesus standing up on the water, and he just looks around and he doesn't know what to do. And eventually he walked back, but it was just one of those funny things. And I mean, in one time he's like running out of the truck and he runs into a tree, I mean, just like full speed, bam, head first right into a tree, knocks him back. He falls on his ass. He gets up, shakes his head, and then runs right back into the lake. I mean, the dog just, I don't know if there was anything upstairs, but, yeah. So, that dog, my dad used to take him to work with him, and, he would go load up at this place left on East Industrial Drive in Manchester, and, he would fill his van with stuff, and he'd have to drive up to Maine, like Portland, Maine for the day. And for his work. And one day the dog, as he got to work, ran out of the van and took off. And he didn't come back. I mean, there's a lot of woods and there's a lot of area, especially this was back, 15, 20 years ago. And so he couldn't wait for him. I mean, my dad tried to find him and he couldn't. And he left. My dad took off. He went to Maine for the day and worked, and after work he came back and he looked for him again, and he couldn't find him. And I don't know, there was something that I think he was upset a little bit. He was probably a little bit mad, the dog wouldn't come for him. But I think there was a little layer to him that was probably a little bit upset. And at that moment, I don't know, I just remember finding out about it. And the only thing that I wanted to do at that point was to find that dog. So I took off and I drove right to where my dad works, and I parked my car and I just started looking around, and trying to figure out where the dog could have gone. And I walked and walked. I walked for hours. I started when it was daylight, and then it was darkness by the time that I got back. And I hadn't found him. I had walked in this big circle. I walked through these woods, and finally made it back to the road. And I'm walking. And I remember, it's so weird how this happened, was that as I was getting close to my car, I don't know how much of a religious person that I've ever been, or I may have been more a long time ago. But I was starting to talk to someone at that time, and I kept asking to help me find this dog. And finally I kind of gave up asking to help me find the dog, and I said, just please let that dog be okay, And it wasn't a couple of moments after that all of a sudden I heard something. I heard like some tingling, like some jingling of something, and it sounded like a dog collar. And no sooner did I look over, and there's the dog just walking around. It was incredible. I mean, I can't describe how Hollywood-like that moment was, but it was amazing. It was amazing that that dog just showed up, and it was even a challenge for me because that dog was scared, and I didn't know the dog very well. I mean, it kind of knew me, it didn't know me that well, and it had been all day by itself on its own, and I don't know what it felt like, but I called his name, and he stopped. He sat down. He just sat there, and he's looking at me, and I'm trying to approach him, and he's not happy. He's growling, and it looks like he could snap. And I'm trying to reassure him, and I'm calling his name, and then finally, I was able to get close enough to him and get a hold of his collar and take him and lead him to my car. And he just sat there. He just sat in the front seat, not knowing what was going on. He's just looking out. And he knew when we got back to my house. He knew where he was. I opened the door, and he ran up to the door. And I opened the front door, and he ran to my father, and it was a surreal moment. And my brother's friend was over at the time, and he commented on it, just at the unlikelihood of the fairy tale story like that actually just took place. I think they kind of gave up on the dog. I don't know, but that reminded me. I mean, maybe it's not that great of a story, but it reminded me of the fact that I haven't always had the best relationship with my father, and there are years that we just didn't talk, and I felt a lot like they had kind of given up on me, or expecting anything from me. And it's always kind of been a driving force for me. I've got journals that I've kept that are 30 years old, and there's a consistent theme in them where I'm trying to do something with my life to make my father proud of me. And I still don't really feel that I've done it. I mean, I just want to earn his respect, maybe to make him feel that his life wasn't wasted with what he had accomplished in having children. And that's it. I mean, I guess I could see where the Tom Hanks character was trying to fulfill a promise, but at the same time thinking that his father would do something for him, because I think that my father would do whatever he could, whether it's reluctantly or out of obligation or out of love. He would do whatever he could for us, and me, and it just reminded me like that I would do the same thing, and well, I don't know. That's what made me emotional. And it kind of still drives me to this day, because I want to be able to do something to earn my father's respect. And I will. I know that I will. It'll happen. So that was one thing. And, I mean, I guess I don't mention my mother all that much, but, she's always been on my side. She's always been rooting for me. She's always kind of been convinced like that. I don't know, that I'm a good person, or that I'm successful in some way, or in her mind. And, she only wants good things for me, and I've always known that she's been on my side. And maybe that's why it's harder for me to accept that my father is, or maybe he's not, and I'm not sure what I'm saying. Anyway, off to another subject. I also watched To Jillian on Her 37th Birthday, which was more emotional. So that's kind of why I'm really a wreck today. I was preparing maybe to see whether, because I'm thinking about accepting a role in that show. And it was good to watch. It was good to kind of get a feeling of that story. The movie is more disjointed than I thought it was. And the emotions, I don't know that are, I mean, it does kind of feel like a lot of Hallmark moments. There's some really good moments in it, and some of the actors do a really fantastic job, and a lot of the people are likable. And although I think like the whole crises is maybe not built up enough, and maybe some of the emotions are not exactly right, but it still makes you feel. It still makes you feel something, and then maybe that's what I'm trying to do is substitute the emotions and feelings that I'm not able to experience throughout these plays and other things. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm saying anymore. I don't know why I keep going on, but yeah, I'm sure that it might be in your better interest to skip this video because it might not be that great. Anyway, if you do watch it, I can't even tell you what to do or what to think because I'm not sure that I really want to watch it again. I think I'll end it now. So hopefully tomorrow's will be a much more cheerful video. Here's to tomorrow.